How's everybody's Wednesday going? A little bit better now, right? So we're here to talk about allergies, I noticed, and we're surrounded by these gorgeous flowers. So
I know, right? How perfect.
I hope you're not allergic to flowers. That's all I
I'm not. I just have like seasonal and like mold and very unsexy allergies are what I have, basically.
Yeah, so let's talk about this partnership a little bit. You have allergies, and is that something that made you want to team up with Zyrtec for this?
Well, it was a very organic partnership because I've suffered from allergies for years and years and years, and I also suffer from this thing called, my makeup artist, Jamie Greenberg, coined it Allergy Face, which I didn't realize was a thing, but it absolutely is. It's, you know, when you get like that redness around the nose and like super itchy, watery eyes, and because Zyrtec takes care of my allergies, and I get like 24-hour relief, but then I also want to look better. So my makeup artist was like, girl, like there are all these tips you can try. And so I now take my tips from Jamie and have partnered with Zyrtec to get the word out about Allergy Face.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would have never thought that. I always just think, maybe I had too much wine last night.
Right? I know. That's what people say. They're like, but it's wine face. I'm like, no. It's your allergies. Trust me.
So when did you first discover that it was Allergy Face, and what have you done to kind of diminish it?
It's been like 2 years, and now it's this app on Be Glammed. All the tips are available to women across the country, which is an awesome thing. But I discovered it first. Makeup artists complain with me because I'm always like, my eyes look so small, I'm so puffy because of my allergies. And so that's when we started talking about it. And she was like, well, you just need to use like eye masks, and there's something you can do with like contouring and using more mascara. And so there are all these tips, that you can use to combat it, which is really good.
Yeah, and so what kind of other allergies do you face in your life? Because I know that it's very common to have allergies, and I know you have two little boys as well. Is it like an allergy family that you're a part of, or?
Well, my youngest is 10 months, and so he's got like the constant runny nose. So I'm like, it's either allergies or teething or like just a constant cold. But I also suffer from like allergies from mold, and I just finished building a house about a year ago, so that was a big problem. And also in LA, it's like you don't really have seasons, so it's like, oh, well, now it's allergies are up because it's springtime, or allergies are here because of the Santa Ana winds, so it's kind of constant.
Yeah. See, now is the time where our allergies in New York come out because the snow is going away and the trees are coming back.
Yeah.
So it must be nice, though, to have a makeup artist there for you to kind of help with this Allergy Face.
It is, and she gives me tips that I wouldn't even have thought of, like using things that are very commonsensical, like using waterproof mascara, waterproof eyeliner, using a setter, which is like a mist you put on your face after you put on your makeup. All of these things just, really help combat it so that you feel good and look good.
Yeah. And being in the business for a while now, what have you learned kind of about makeup and styling that you didn't know maybe a few years ago?
Well, I love picking up tricks, which is like one of the best perks of my job. But then I also realized that like I kind of get super, not lazy, but like I always have these amazing artists working on me. And then when it's time to like put on my own makeup, I'm like, oh, wait, what do I do? And then with these apps like Be Glammed or like Dry Bar, like it's just everything's at your fingertips. Everything's so easy and convenient. It's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Are you into styling and all that, and the whole aspect of, walking red carpets and picking out your dress and your makeup and your hair? And
it's always fun. Yeah. I love working with a stylist for like red carpet because then you get to experiment and wear stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily wear. I have to say that like I moved from New York about 10 years ago, and it's kind of nice living in LA because you're allowed to wear flip-flops and jeans and like be super casual 24/7, and no one's going to look at you twice, which is kind of lovely. But it is really nice to play dress up, I have to say.
I know, walking around New York City, you got to always make sure you
have to be on your A game. You really do. Yeah.
Even when I wear sandals, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be wearing these. Maybe I should wear my ankle boots when it's 100 degrees out.
Yeah, you have to watch it more in New York.
So let's talk about your incredible career. And especially your TV, you've been on TV a lot lately, and I kind of want to know what draws you into television, and it seems like it's the place to be right now in the industry for sure.
I started on television with a soap opera called As the World Turns back in the day. I really like TV because the roles for women on TV are so rich. Like, I'm obsessed right now with Big Little Lies.
So good.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm
Kidman.
so bummed that there's only one episode left. But I just think the material can be really rich. And I also, having two boys under 3, I kind of want to stay in one place. So TV's ideal for that as well.
Yeah, so what made you, right now you're starring on Lethal Weapon, which I'm sure there's some fans out here, right? It's an awesome show. What kind of drew you into that role on that show?
It was the writing. I really like the writing. I really, I love a good challenge, and I love that everyone was like, well, you guys aren't going to be able to translate Lethal Weapon, the film, because that's, the fan base is going to be so upset at you. And I was like, well, I've read Matt Miller's script, and it's really good, so give us a shot. And I felt the same way about Dallas. Everyone was like, how are you going to revamp Dallas? That's insane. So I seem to be drawn towards these big titles and bringing life back to them. And I also loved my character of the therapist, because I'm also a huge fan of Billions. So I love Maggie Siff's character on there, and so I was like, maybe I can bring a twist to Cahill in the same way that she has.
Yeah, it's kind of, we're living in this reboot, revival sort of era. Does it ever make you nervous to take on projects that are, like a Dallas or a Lethal Weapon, where there's already such a fan base and you're trying to bring it to television?
Yeah, always. But that's also part of the fun. I mean, it's like you have this built-in fan base, but on the other hand, you can't disappoint. So the stakes are higher, but I think that's what makes it more of a challenge.
And do you enjoy kind of the action-packed TV series, because Lethal Weapon, and as well as your role in Fast and the Furious, you have some experience. Is that something that excites you about
It
these
does,
shows?
yeah. I mean, with Lethal Weapon, it's kind of insane. McGee directed the pilot, our first episode, and it really is like a mini movie with every episode. It looks so good. So yeah, I do love action. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to be a part of the action in Lethal Weapon yet, but maybe I will be eventually. Yeah.
So let's talk about the mini-series craze that you mentioned, Big Little Lies. And you were, of course, on American Crime Story, which was a huge success, the Oj Simpson Story. What was it like being a part of that show? It got so much buzz, so much praise, lots of awards.
It was amazing. It was amazing watching Ryan Murphy work, because he's such a genius. It was, when my big moment was when I had to be on the stand, and I hadn't factored in that I would be in front of John Travolta and Cuba Gooding and Sarah Paulson, and so that just made me so nervous. But on the other hand, it was just really, really gratifying.
Yeah, what's it like to be on a Ryan Murphy set? Because his shows are so dynamic, and I swear every other week it's like he's releasing another anthology.
I know, and his work is so eclectic. Yes. He started with Popular, I think, and then Nip Tuck, and then, American Horror Story, but his sets run like clockwork. It's so smooth. He knows exactly what he wants. So you just feel like I feel very comfortable when a director knows exactly what he wants. What you don't want to see in a director is fear. Whenever I see fear, I'm like, oh no, we're screwed. So I love being directed by him.
And when you walk into the set of an Oj Simpson show, what was it like to kind of be transported back into that time and playing these characters?
It was crazy. It was wonderful how methodical the costume department was, and the hair and makeup. Hair and makeup had pictures plastered all over the trailer of covers from the 80s, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a trend. I remember that, or oh, I remember wearing those scrunchies, or the cowboy, the half cowboy Guess booty was coming back, and so and the chokers. It was wonderful, and it was also really fun because I'm a little bit of a nerd. I loved school and I love studying. So to be able to do research on someone and to have to be truthful to who that person is it felt like it felt like there was more of a responsibility, which felt wonderful.
Yeah, did you kind of go into the spiral of the Oj Simpson story and researching and getting kind of stuck in that world a little bit?
I did. It's really hard to find objective material because it's such a polarizing subject, and it was polarizing on set too. When I heard certain people's opinions, it's like discussing politics today. I was like, are you serious that person really believes that? I can't talk to that person anymore. So I actually read a book that was the only book that the Goldwins and the Browns blessed. And so it gave me a lot of backstory on Nicole and Oj and on the family, and it was really interesting. And once I found that, I kind of stuck to that because it was the one that resonated the most.
And do you think you'll be back on a Ryan Murphy show perhaps in the future? Would you like to?
I would do anything to work with Ryan Murphy again. I adore him.
Yeah, do you watch American Horror Story? Because those series are very scary.
They are super scary, yeah. I have to be careful with what I watch because my son is often up with me and he's like 3 years old, and he's drawn towards like the grim and the scary,
No.
which is funny. But yes, I do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, there's so many different shows Ryan Murphy does, like we said.
Like Scream Queens is super fun.
I know, and he started with Glee, and I miss Glee.
I know, I do
now
too.
that I mention it. But I want to talk to you about Fast and Furious because the new movie, number 8, is coming out, and you won't be in it. Is that right?
I won't be in it.
What's it kind of like for you to kind of, step away from that part of your career for a little bit? And what was that conversation like when you found out you wouldn't be in 8?
This one's loaded because it's like the first one that Paul's not in, so it's very sad in a way. But I think the franchise has evolved throughout the years, and it's become, each one transitions into something new. And I think the addition of Charlize is amazing. The addition of Helen Mirren's amazing. So I think, it's strange not to be a part of it because it's been a part of my life for so many years.
Yeah, it's a family, like we all know from the series. How many times actually do you think you guys said family in the franchise of Fast and Furious? The familia.
Countless amounts of times. Not only family, but I also, I would joke with Justin Lin that we wanted to run a loop of me screaming, because that's what I was doing for a lot of the movies, which is funny.
That's so good. And how do you feel that Dom is kind of turning on the family in this new movie? Do you buy that? Because I feel like you guys are all so close in the franchise that I can't believe that he would turn and...
When I saw that twist, it made me want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how, what happens? Like that, they can't possibly end on that note, so we'll see.
Yeah, does it make you miss the cast and crew, though, not being a part of it? And are you excited to see it?
Well, I'm friends with Vin. I'm very close with his sister as well, and I love Michelle to death, and I love Luda, so I feel like I see them regardless. Yeah. And again, but there's a huge missing element.
Yeah. What was it like for you to kind of be a part of this incredible franchise that is, one of the highest grossing films of all time was Furious 7? Does that put a lot of pressure on you to find new roles or different roles, or is it something that you look back on now and say, wow, I was blessed to be a part of it?
Yeah, it's with something as big as Fast and Furious, it doesn't put pressure because it's not like I'm like, oh, well, I need to find a franchise that's going to be bigger. It gives you liberty to play in your career. It's like, oh, now I get to go off and find material that might be really fun, or I can, it's fun getting to be a little bit older because I find that the roles are a little more eclectic, a little more rich. I'm not always playing the ingenue. So it just gives me creative license in a way.
Yeah. And what did you learn from playing Mia for all those movies, and what is something that you took away from that role that you'll take possibly to other roles?
I don't know. Just her quiet strength, I guess, is what I loved playing. I saw a big transition in myself with, I think it was 7. With 7, because with 6 Mia was a mom, and I couldn't really relate to that aspect, and so it felt a little bit distant. But the second I had Julian, all of that became so much more visceral and real for me. So it was much more rewarding playing her.
Yeah. How has becoming a mom yourself kind of affected the way you choose roles or decide to join a project? Mm-hmm. Do you want to kind of do more maybe animated movies for
yourself? I would love that so much because I want nothing more. I was actually stalking Sesame Street for a little while, being like, could I please be on? Because Julian's watching and all I want to do is to be cool for my son. And now all I want is to be a voice in an animated movie because Julian's obsessed with Moana, and now it's Beauty and the Beast, and it's the cutest thing in the world. So I would love nothing more. That would be so much fun.
So many incredible children's movies like Zootopia, and you mentioned Moana.
Yeah.
when you're an actress and you're choosing between television and film, how do you kind of make that choice on what you want to pursue? Because like you said, it's nice to have the schedule of television, but are there any times that you're torn, perhaps, with projects?
Yeah, I think there are times as an actor that you're like, I'm a planner and I'm very type A, and that's not the best thing when you're an actor. And so you start off with the best intentions. Like I would tell, or I would ask my agents and my manager, like, I'm only working in LA, and I would like this kind of schedule. And that may or may not work for you. Like I realize that I have to be flexible. So if I have to, pack everyone up and go shoot for 3 months at a time, like I realized, like, that would be really fun for the boys, because I grew up all over the place as a kid, and it was actually really rewarding. So, but I do factor in, like, okay, when are they in school? Like, what's the best for them? And also, like, do I want my son seeing that? Like, sometimes my husband, like, we were watching Lethal Weapon the other day, and like a scene was getting a little bit intimate, and Andrew was like, well, you need, and I was like, I didn't realize that would be upsetting for Julian to see mommy in that light. And now that's something I have to think about. Like, I have to be way more responsible about that. Yeah.
And your son, your 10-month-old probably doesn't know that you are Jordana Brewster, the actress, but does your older son kind of realize that you're, in this Hollywood spotlight?
He does and he doesn't. When people like come up to me and ask for pictures, he's like, why did that person take a picture with you? And then I kind of try to explain it, and then I'm like, I talk about pretending a lot and playing a character, because he's constantly now talking about, like, is Batman real? Is Wonder Woman real? Is Beauty real? I want Beauty to come to my birthday party. And I'm like, how mommy plays a character on TV? Like, Batman's a character. Like, I try to explain it in those terms. And sometimes he gets it, sometimes not so much.
Do you think at all that he would maybe want to follow your footsteps and be in the career of...
He might. Like, I see him talking to himself, which is something I used to do as a kid, which is either a sign of mental illness. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, it's just he's so creative. Or, like, he'll be watching something and then he'll mime it in front of the mirror. And I'm like, oh, no. But I hope he goes more towards, like, writing and producing. It's something where you have a little more control, because that lack of control can be a little maddening sometimes.
Is that something that interests you, sort of writing and maybe directing?
Yeah, directing not so much, but producing, because I love, like, it's what my husband does, and I think it just looks like so much fun, and just having a little more of a creative outlet would be awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's so many projects to choose from now with all the content, streaming.
Absolutely.
And you were talking again about miniseries. What would be like a dream role for you that you feel like, wow, I haven't gotten the chance to do that. That would be really exciting.
Something like, like Reese Witherspoon's character on Big Little Lies, because I'm always sort of playing this a little more square, a little more perfect, but I have this, like, very neurotic, like, kind of crazy side, and to let that, like, unleash would be really, really fun. And it's something, like, I think as a mom you also get a lot less self-conscious, and as you age you don't care as much, so that's very liberating.
Yeah, and that show is so good. It's so good. And I'm sure with being a mom yourself, watching that show and the craziness that ensues with preschoolers, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to get to some audience questions, so let's open it up. Oh, here we go.
Thank you for being here. So out of all the roles that you played in your career, which one resonated with you the most? And did it relate to you in your personal life?
One of the ones that resonated a lot was actually playing Denise Brown, because that sense of family and that sense of, her morals and her code was so strong, and I really, really respected her. So that's one that definitely resonated in a big way.
What's next?
Hi. So I'm a young actress, and whenever I'm on set, like, I'm always in my head. So, like, what's an advice, like, to get out of your head when you're on set?
That's a great question, because that's, like, the worst. Like, that's, like, the enemy, especially, like, when the camera's on you and then you get in your head, and it's like, so I learned how to meditate about 7 years ago, I want to say. And what meditation does is it doesn't clear your head. I think that's kind of a fallacy. It certainly didn't clear my head, but it allows you to see that your thoughts aren't as important as you think they are. Like, you don't have to pay attention to every little one. So doing that on set, meditating on set or before an audition, really helps me to sort of center myself and get present to whoever's there with you.
Yeah, what's your process like to kind of discover your character and memorize your lines and get into the zone?
Well, so when I started out, I was so arrogant. I was 15 and I was like, oh, well, I must be talented because someone hired me, so I don't need to study. And then I went to Yale undergrad and I studied English. And then in my 20s, someone actually gave me a nudge and was like, you should start going to classes. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want someone to get in my head. But classes I've been going for about 10 years, and they've been amazing, because it's amazing being able to practice as much as you possibly can. And I work with this amazing coach, and so usually when I get material, I work with her. And memorization's a whole other thing. Memorization's just like rote, it's I'm used to it by now, but it's really exploring and digging in with my coach.
You guys make it look so easy, I swear. I'm like, we forget that they're
It's supposed to look
memorizing
easy,
all of
that's
these.
good,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we have time for one more.
Hey, Jordana, thanks for being here. I know that you were involved in a video for the Human Rights Campaign. I was just wondering, how important was that for you, being involved in that?
It was amazing. I think, are you speaking of the one where I actually spoke in someone else's words?
Yeah, that one.
That was really, really cool and really impactful. And I just thought it was such a unique way as well to get the message across. It was, and they actually told us that they were going to show the women and the girls who were being portrayed the video, and then show us the footage of them watching, which I look forward to. So whenever I can help in any way, and I do. I think it's really important.
Well, we'll definitely heed your advice for the allergy face. I know I will.
Yes,
because I'm
totally.
like, now maybe I have allergy face. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for
you.
joining us.
Thank
Good luck with
you.
everything.